it was good. We had some weather that kept us from being able to practice before we played Embry and Riddle when we were down there, and so I think the first half of that game was symbolic of a little bit of a practice for us, really sloppy and kind of just getting the legs underneath us. And then we played much better in the second half, and then I think St. Leo was kind of the pinnacle of the trip. We played really, really well. Doubling them up in ground balls and face-offs and caused turnovers, and I think the team just had a really nice team victory. And then the shorter game, some bad weather kind of got us off to a slow and murky start, and it was a good game though to have everybody have a chance to play and get some learning experience. So overall, the trip was good. Just looking forward to getting back to playing at home and starting the RMAC schedule.
Yeah, and then talking about playing at home and the RMAC schedule this week, Adams State and CSU Pueblo. What do you know about them? What do you expect?
Well, it's both of their first weekends out, and so by the time Pueblo plays us, it'll be their second game. But first time up for Adams. I know they returned some pretty solid players. Both on the defensive and offensive end, and then Pueblo's played us better and better every time, and just excited to see how they continued to grow this season as well. And so both teams, I think, pose their own challenges, but the most important thing I think for us is for us to just focus on ourselves and work on what we can control and fine-tune that this week in practice heading into both these games this weekend.
Questions?
You and I talked, I think it was last week, that
Yep.
you don't see conference opponents this often, this early, and it's definitely going to be surprising because you don't have film on Adams, and so you kind of experience that. In the last games, not going within film, but this is going to help you guys come April time. Not having that film on, now you're going to have film going against your own guys,
right?
And so long term, this is probably going to be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I think the unknown is always a difficult thing, but there's plenty of video out there of incoming freshmen, and then you can always watch games from last year. And so that's what we've tried to do for both these teams, so that way we can be a little bit prepared. But ultimately, you're right. By the time we get a chance to play them again in April, having played these early season matchups are good to have underneath your belt.
What do you think the team has played for the first part of the season?
I think they played really well. I mean, we traveled a ton. It's not really something many teams get the opportunity to do, but also just do in general. I think we got our legs shaken out a little bit, which was good. And we came home with 3 wins, three major wins, and I think it was a really good start to the season.
How does that give you confidence going into conference play?
It just shows that we can compete with any team in any state. And then when it comes to our home state, we want to take care of business and get the job done.
What are some of the improvements you think the team can still make?
I think we have really young offense at the moment. I think we have a couple of guys that lead the offense, particularly that are older, but I think for the most part, there's still a lot of improvements that we have to, just kind of get the smaller details, the finer details, and really tune those out. And I think once we do that, I think we're really set for a good season.
Coach, the consistency has been pretty good. First 3 games, definitely hard considering the travel, and that's got to be a huge positive seeing such level of high consistency so early in the season.
Yeah, I think the statistics, would show that, ultimately shooting the ball 50, 60 times a game, winning the ground ball award, getting 30, 40, 50 ground balls a game, winning face-offs. I think that we have been pretty consistent, and that's something that we've wanted to focus on since, this fall and just coming into this season in general. Again, I know we talked a few weeks ago about, where we've kind of came this season from, and last year wasn't the most consistent bunch of practice players and game players, and this year I think we're just kind of shaking out some of those finer details, as Trent was alluding to, especially in the offensive end, just crisper passes and being a little bit more consistent with our shooting. Only about 56% of our shots are on goal. I'd like to see that number, a little bit closer to 60%, so that way the goalie's seeing it, 6 out of every 10 times you're putting it on frame. And, so I think there's some little details that do need to be fine-nighted and just really kind of focused on. And at the end of the day, that's what we're working for every day in practice.
I know it's never the goal, but for the past 2 weeks, you guys have swept the conference awards, and it must be nice to see, especially because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's been a different player for every single award.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we talked about the last time we were in here, you know, before we went on the Florida trip, was what to expect. And I think that the fact that we have a well-rounded approach and a cast of characters is something that's really important to our team and the success that we can have. You know, Remy started one of the games down there. Christian started the other game. Both goalies give you a different look, and with both guys being seniors and being champions of the position, meaning accepting what we're asking them to do right now, you know, we can give different looks to teams based off of the depth we have in some of our positions. And I think that shows in those awards. You know, JR going 2-5 in the last game as a graduate assistant, as a graduate player who will eventually become a graduate assistant. You know, he has the ability to see the field as if he's a coach out there now playing in his 5th season. And, you know, both the face-off guys getting a chance to be defensive players of the week, I think is huge for both their confidences because, you know, both of them are very talented and it's always competitive. And I think that's the thing, you know. Trent ran second line last week, and he's going to bump up and run first line this week. And so there's little things like that we're constantly doing to adjust, you know, our approach. And each guy knows they have to earn it each week. And that's one of the things I think that's really unique about this team and why, you know, you see 4 different guys win 4 separate awards.